Okay, let's get things rolling here. And greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. I want to remind everybody, hit that like, share, and subscribe. There's a PayPal link down below for anybody that wants to share some love. And of course, the panel link is coming right up for anybody who wants to join the panel. Let me drop that for you here. Get back here. And there's the StreamYard link. And we're talking about that license or ID as a showing of your trade, because it's got a business name on it. Okay. What we're looking at is that upon enumeration at birth, the United States conferred a nationality known as a United States citizen. Now, that United States citizen is known as a business, and that business is bonded by the United States already under full faith and credit because of that very enumeration at birth, which is a contract between the federal government and the state government. Because I want to remind you, there is no birth registration in the United States. So in order for the United States to keep track statistically of all the records for its legal purposes, it has a contract with each of the states of the Union to provide the statistical data elements upon enumeration at birth, which is the state's vital statistic jurisdiction. It's an exclusive jurisdiction that is known by a name and an enumeration. That is that is the establishment of a legal name for a corporate entity, a business. Then you sign up at 18 for a Social Security card to display that business and authorize you to sign documents for that business. So under 15 U.S.C. 4724, it says trade shows. Now, in the English language, you can read forward and backwards. So you read trade shows, it's showing trade. This is a simple explanation where businesses go out and they want to show what their trades are. That's what a trade show is. So you see a bunch of people lined up at tables and they're going to try to entice you into becoming an employee by showing you what they do in their business. That's a trade show. Now, when a nice little policy officer pulls you over alongside the road, he wants you to see your driver's license so you can show him what kind of trade you're in. See, that enumeration is linked back to that Social Security. And like I said, when you go to court, let me pull it up here. Let me give me a second to pull up Facebook to show you a picture taken a long time ago of the local court document I got from the clerk that shows what they're doing on the other side of the counter. There's a couple conversions you need to learn about. So let's switch over here. And what we have here is a court document. Notice at the top it says financial index. Okay. Notice there it says last. And then it's got that nice little flash there. And then it says firm. And then it says first. and then it says middle. Okay, notice the middle is blank. Notice Keith is the first name, and it's in all uppercase. And then the last slash firm name is Litt. I'd like you to understand that that is not my last name. My last name, according to the record, is Little, Little. And therefore, what's happening here in the English grammar, when you use two terms and put a slash in between them, that slash means you can substitute one for the other. So what the court did was they substituted a firm name for the last name. Now, I've never been instructed, like I said, to use a firm name, nor have I ever been instructed, like I've said, to write the last name or first name in all uppercase, nor have I ever been instructed to use the last name in the first position and the first name in the last position. Okay? The next part is the obligor. It's funny how the obligor happens to be the Social Security number without dashes. Now, I've never been instructed to use the Social Security number without dashes, except on a Social Security site where you look up the selective service number. Okay? So first of all, we have to realize that the identification is the individual's name and number, and that identifies the record. So let's go back to 15 U.S.C. 4724. Under trade shows, it says authority of the Secretary of Commerce. Did you know that the Bureau of Vital Statistics is regulated by the Department of Commerce, and that the Bureau of Vital Statistics, in that enumeration at birth through the Health and Human Services, is a seller of a bond known as a birth certificate bond. Yeah, and they've even got a chart. I'll show you the chart too. It's a financial instrument indicative of a corporate entity and its bond. In order to facilitate exporting by United States businesses, the Secretary of Commerce shall provide assistance for trade shows in the United States, which bring together representatives. Do you know that authorized representative for the Social Security card? That's what they authorized you. Look at your checks. That's not a signature line. It specifically is microprint that says authorized representative of United States businesses seeking to export. And what are you doing when you give them data elements? It's coming out of you and going into them. That's an export of data elements. Very simply, goods or services produced. The service, the technical service, is you are a consultant for those data elements produced in the United States, and representatives of foreign companies or governments seeking to buy such goods or services from the United States business. Says definitions. As used in this section, the term United States business means a United States citizen. It also means a corporation, a partnership, you know, like the citizenship. A partnership. A United States citizenship is a partnership with United States. 28 U.S.C. 3002. United States is not a federal corporation or federal government. It is a corporation, and it includes agencies, departments, and such, or other association created under the laws of the United States or any state. The enumeration at birth is a partnership. Simple. It's a common English term. It is not capitalized. It is not specific. It goes to the general definition of what a partnership is, including the District of Columbia or any Commonwealth, territory, or possession of the United States, or a foreign corporation, partnership, or other association, more than 95% of which is owned by persons described in subparagraphs A and B. Citizens and partnerships, and not the United States. And why would I own more? Because title is 1/10 of the law. 9/10 of the law is equity. That's the equity title. Once the legal title meets equity title, guess what? The trust collapses. Now, if anybody can find anything wrong with what I'm saying here or misinterpreting it, please do so. So let's take a look. Somehow we didn't get that switched. So let's take a look. There's your definitions. A, B, and C. United States business means a United States citizen, a corporation, partnership, or other association created under the laws of the United States or any state, including District of Columbia or any Commonwealth, territory or possession of the United States, or a foreign corporation, partnership, or other association, more than 95% of which is owned by persons described in subparagraphs A and B. And the term small business means any small business concern as defined in section 632 of this title. Small business concern. For the purposes of this chapter, a small business concern, including but not limited to enterprises that are engaged in the production or business of production of food and fiber, ranching and raising of livestock, aquaculture, and other farming and agriculture-related industries shall be deemed to be one which is independently owned and operated and which is not dominant in its field of operation. You can read all the criteria, but if you're not running an actual business and qualified for that under 12 U.S.C. 614, where you have a communication and a board of directors, then you've been duped into believing you have a business or that you are a business and don't even know that that's what it's defined as. A United States business means a United States citizen. And so we have people running around claiming they're a United States citizen, but don't know the first thing about business, nor do they have a business. In fact, they don't even have a home to stay in. They're homeless, and yet still professing that they're a United States citizen. It's fucking ridiculous. So let's take a look at legal definition of trade show. A trade show is an event where companies that are involved in a certain industry gather to exhibit their products, learn about current trends in their industry, and gain knowledge about their competitors. Trade shows provide opportunities for selling, reinforcing existing business relationships, and launching new products. And as a business, every time you present your ID, that's what you're doing. You're showing them you're in some kind of a trade. They don't know what, so they need your name and address so they can look up the federal government's files and find out what kind of business you're in. And listen, if you ain't in a business and you're professing to be a business and don't know it, guess what? You just lied and created a false record. It's that simple. Let's see if we can find out what a minimum listing requirement is. Now, this is generally in relations to real estate. And this is 421705 of the Code of District of Columbia. A written listing contract is required in the district for the sale of all real property, not real estate, but real property. A written listing contract is required. A licensee shall not receive payment of a commission in the absence of a writing listing agreement, a written listing agreement. Let's see. We're trying to find the minimum listing agreement requirements. Well, let's do it this way. Let's try asking. Listing requirements. This is Investopedia. It says, what are listing requirements? Listing requirements comprise the various criteria and minimum standards established by stock exchanges, such as New York Stock Exchange, that companies must meet their list of shares for trading. So we see the listing requirement is still a listing contract, listing agreement, like I said, not restricted to real estate. It goes the law is uniform throughout all jurisdictions. So if it says that in one jurisdiction and it is protected throughout all jurisdictions, goodness gracious, it goes up and down, and it's supposed to say the same type of thing. It's supposed to correlate the same concept spiritually. The letter of the law is what they're following. And if you want to keep saying that I'm interpreting the letter of the law wrong, then you forget that there are many different jurisdictions, and it says the same thing in different jurisdictions by using different letters. It's the importance of understanding how this language works. Get all uppity with me and tell me and everybody else and interrupt me while I'm trying to help educate people how to do the research so they can correlate this shit. And you want to sit there and say, I'm misinterpreting and don't even understand the Constitution because you don't even know the Constitution. Goofy motherfuckers. A company will be allowed to list shares for trading only if it meets initial as well as ongoing requirements. Ongoing over time as things change so that you can negotiate. That's what negotiable instruments are about today. It's not setting things in stones. It's letting things be known that it's negotiable. If something pops up, it's not a matter of fault or blame. It's a matter of negotiation, you goofy motherfuckers. Companies that do not meet listing requirements on major exchanges may be able to offer their shares for trading over the counter. What counter? Maybe a local counter with the local surety company that is covering the asses of the local officials? Quid pro quo, equal station. If you're going to act as a surety company for the principal, why don't you bind that principal to the obligee? The third-party beneficiary. Here's my documentation. Aren't we playing the same game? Yeah, except that they've only got 75 million. Mine's worth 150 million. Who gets to put the value on it? Them or you? Are you still accepting and bowing down and kissing their ass for their value system? Or do you not know Revelations 22? Let me pull that up just to make sure. Revelations 22. No. Maybe it's 18:6. There we go, 18:6. Revelations 18:6. Because again, reward her even as she rewarded you. I was given a gift, right? That bond, that birth certificate bond, right? And double unto her according to her works in the cup which she hath filled to her double. So you take that bond and you give it back to him, doubling it up. Give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and make sure you pay him well so he knows who he owes. So let's go back to Investopedia. Understanding listing requirements. Listing requirements are a set of conditions which a firm must meet before listing a security. That birth certificate bond is a security instrument, and it can be securitized. And you have to make sure that your negotiations are firm. On one of the organized stock exchanges, such as the NSY, New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, the London Stock Exchange, or the Tokyo Exchange. Securities, Securities Exchange Commission. You don't have to put it there. You can make a private placement. See, when you do your research and you only see information that pertains to public entities, and you say, wait a minute, if I've got an equal station in life, what's the private side? You learn to do some deeper research and figure it out for yourself, because these people ain't going to tell you. So now let's do some research on private placement. And I do love Investopedia. Private placements. A private placement is a sale of stock, shares, or bonds to pre-selected investors and institutions rather than publicly on the open market. So I'm going to pre-select those investors, the ones that have been considering me an investor all my life. You know, like the principals, the mayor, and the county commissioner, and the governor of the state, and the principal of all principals, the president of the United States. See, those are your commanders in chief in a military government on up and down the line. The mayor is the military commander in chief of the municipality. The county commissioner is the military commander in chief of the county, and the governor is the commander in chief of the state. The president is the commander in chief of the United States. Those are the people that you need to learn how to deal with. And if you're going to run your life as if though you're afraid of those kind of people that you turn around and elected under your voter, I've never registered to vote. I know better. I'm not stupid. You go ahead and keep carrying that license in your pocket. And you keep voting for them instead of stepping up to an equal station in life. It's an alternative to initial public offering for a company seeking to raise capital for expansion. Private placements are regulated by U.S. Securities Exchange Commission under Regulation D. Regulation D. Regulation D is the Securities Exchange Commission regulation governing private placement exemptions. Should not be confused with the Federal Reserve Board Regulation D, which limits withdrawals from savings accounts. And again, I remind you folks, when you make those withdrawals and deposits, and you're depositing Federal Reserve notes and withdrawing Federal Reserve notes, you're not a Federal Reserve transfer agent, and you've just committed a fucking felony, whether you like to believe that or not. And you can continue on with more research on this, folks. But as I've said, you better start doing your research, and don't believe me. Don't believe the neighbor. Don't believe the government. And for crying out loud, don't believe your mother. Do your research so you know. Because I don't care if you want to sit there and profess that you're some kind of freedom of speech, Jose, and then want to interrupt while somebody else is trying to help people learn this stuff. And then you, as a supposedly promoting free speech, are the very one that's preventing the greater benefit and the greater right of a greater majority of people to learn and to know, because you already know and you think I'm misinterpreting it. So you're going to cut everybody else off from knowing what I know and interject what you know and mislead them. Again, you don't even know what the fucking Constitution is, woman. Sit back down and learn your fucking place. Shut the fuck up, Gina. Meantime, y'all know me. I love you, and I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back or not. That's to say, I don't care if you hate me and don't respect me. That's on you. So may God bless you. and have a good day.